Hey guys, Jane here, and today I'm talking about the story solution. And this is a self-help book about using the concepts of stories and the elements of stories to kind of make some improvements in your life. So, if you follow my channel, you know I've been kind of struggling with a lot of mental health stuff. I've seen professional counselors, and if maybe it's because of where I live in kind of a small town area, there's just not a lot of help. And I've been told by two different counselors that therapy is not going to do much for me. So I'm kind of trying to do the self-help thing by myself. And this book was a really interesting read and had some good ideas that I could really take to heart. So I will say that it is by Platt and Truant, who are part of Sterling and Stone. And I love the Sterling and Stone guys and the group very much. I watch their podcast. And so I love the voice in this book. I already knew a lot about the people involved because I've read other books and I follow their podcasts. So it was almost like getting the advice from a friend. I don't know if that makes me a little bit biased about the book, because it might. But I had a great time with this, and I had some really good things that it said. And I'm going to share a few of the messages that I really liked with you. But they talked about different aspects of your life, like what goals are you going after? And, reminding yourself to focus on those, not to get sidetracked by all the little things that come up. But you should have a big goal. You should have something you really want and be fighting for that, because otherwise, what are you doing? There was also a great discussion about people who are not suited for your story, getting them out of your story, about making sure that your setting is appropriate for who you are and the goals that you have. It's just such a good book. It's fairly thin, but it was really worth the read for me, especially in this time of my life where I'm really trying to figure out how to help myself when therapy has not been very useful. I did give this a 4 out of 5. These guys are not psychologists. They're not anybody professional. So I guess I felt like I couldn't give it a 5 out of 5 because they're talking about their own personal experiences and personal stories. But this is obviously not meant to be used in place of medical advice or counseling unless you can't get help by counselors, like I seem to be not having luck doing. All right, so a couple of the comments or quotes that I really liked in here. And this is on page 58. You can only have one voice. That may sound stupidly obvious, but it means that if you adopt something untrue, you're robbing the world of your reality. I shiver to think what the creative world would be like if Walt Disney hadn't unleashed his voice, or if the founders of Pixar had tried to be like everyone else, including too much like Disney. Unique voices make our world what it is. There is no right voice, no wrong voice. There is only voice, and that is the one that is most true to you. So they were kind of talking there about being your true self and figuring out who your true self is. And I think that is something I've struggled with a lot in my life because I grew up very middle class, and I have a lot of experiences from that life, but I am also not living that now. I'm living as a working poor person. So striving to be better, striving to look at who I was, the expectations my parents might have put on my life, and my expectations for myself, and my expectations for parenting. I'm not in a position to be a stay-at-home wife like I wanted to be. I'm not in a position to get a college, like a master's degree. I have an associate's degree, but I can't do more college right now because I'm a mom. There's a lot of things in my life that aren't quite happening the way I wanted them to, but it's important for me to realize who I am and to kind of brush off the expectations of my parents, the expectations of what I was growing up, so that I can be my most authentic self. So there was another one I really liked that I wanted to share, and that was page 174 to 175. Remember, your life is a story. As long as the clock is ticking, the tale is ongoing. Every day you're above ground, you're writing a new page. This means no matter where you are, no matter how bad things may feel in the moment, you have a chance to turn it around. It's never too late, as long as you're breathing. If you've fallen in the past, it doesn't matter. Nobody stands up in the middle of the movie and says, well, the main character screwed up. I guess the story is over. As long as there's story left, failure isn't the end. It's merely a plot twist. And man, I needed that message so bad. So, not that I've made a ton of really bad decisions in my life, but there have been a few. And it was really nice to have that reminder that, okay, so maybe you can't continue on that path. Like, for instance, I really would have loved to get a master's degree. That's not something that can happen right now in my life. But that doesn't mean my story's over. It's a plot twist. So I don't have a master's degree. How am I going to do the big things I want to do in my life without that master's degree? You know, I'm divorced. I wanted to be married to my kid's dad forever. And that wasn't my story. And believe me, I felt like a failure before because I'm like, well, I'm divorced and I'm probably never going to marry again. And growing up and being a romantic and being a romance writer, like marriage and love is so important to me. So how do I translate where I was and the fact that I'm divorced to the future? So it's a really good book. A lot of it was so personal to me. And if you are going through a rough time and are a writer or a reader, this might be a good book to help you kind of get some focus on the things you're going through. Of course, not in the place of medical advice, but, you know, just as a little extra self-help along the way. All right, guys, have you read The Story Solution? Did you enjoy it? Do you have any other self-help type books that you might be able to recommend to somebody who's struggling? As I said, I have not had a lot of luck with therapy. I've seen recently, in the past 3 or 4 years, 3 therapists. One I really felt wasn't benefiting me, and the other 2 flat out told me they couldn't benefit me. So at the moment, I'm without a therapist, and I'm still struggling a bit with mental health. So I would love to hear any suggestions you might have for books. I have read that I loved Jordan Peterson's 12 Antidotes to Chaos, 12 Rules for Life, Antidotes for Chaos, and I thought that was very useful. I found The Story Solution very useful. The Truant, Johnny B. Truant, also has The Universe Doesn't Give a Fuck About You, which in its own way was very useful as well, to stop worrying about people, what people think of you and who you are, and to look at what you really want to accomplish in your life. For somebody in my position who is trying to break out as a writer, that's so important. And, you know, not just to be a casual, I self-publish, but to be a mid-list writer someday. All of that's really important to me. So, yeah. Comments below. Please like and subscribe for more content. My social media is below if you'd like to connect with me off of YouTube. And as I mentioned, I'm a writer. I would really appreciate if you read romance, you check out my books. Some of them are on Kindle Unlimited, so if you have that program, you can read for free. I will talk to you next time. This is Jane. Bye.